Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of our Star Wars Out in the Dark. I am your storyteller, the Ravnos Archon, better known as Will. And last we left off, we picked up right where we left off, where Silas and Edie were getting hit with some force lightning, as it were. And it turned out not to be that terrible. It just kind of sapped them of their force points and their dark side points, kind of creating a blank slate for them. They had a misunderstanding a little bit later as they went looking for Dr. Shakti and Akila, who were all the other force users on the ship. And Dr. Shakti almost ended up shooting Silas instead of the creature. But as he finished his cleansing ritual, the kyber crystal that this alien had cracked, and they learned that symbolizes an end of a lifetime, and that he had to go on the long walk now. He let them hold on to one half of the kyber crystal, as he let them know that he would take the other half to his village chieftain, so that he knew who was coming in his wake. And then he left his spear kind of dug into the earth outside the ship in the direction they should travel to get to his village. They discussed the situation, what to do, where to move from here, what options lay in front of them. And then Edie had Silas kind of reach out with the Force to check Flid's surface thoughts. And this is when we learned that Edie can be a bit cold-hearted, even though he has no heart whatsoever. And to try to cheer Flid up after the antagonizing memories that he brought back up, he tried to pick him up and carry him around, which Flid did not like and had him summarily put him down. But following in the creature's path, they came across a small and lush oasis, a collection of buildings made up of pieces of starships, and they were approached by a duo of scouts. They saw that they were repulsed by the image, the kind of showing of the broken kyber crystal. Excuse me. But the group was taken to meet the village elder, Girek. Discovered that Jedi is a term that they use for any Force user. And then they were treated to some dinner, and they learned a little bit about some of the murals that exist in the chieftain's hut. They learned that the system is Treachery. There's 4 main celestial bodies and a vibrant set of binary stars at its center that are named Keentriv and Vithric. The closest planet is Havar. It has no moons. The second planet is Wergol, and it can sustain life, but it's mostly an aquatic planet. There's a small landmass and several island chains that kind of appear and disappear with the tides. The third planet is Othon, which is where they landed. It is a wasteland of a planet with pockets of flora and fauna, and 19 tiny moons encircling it, almost like a private asteroid belt. And the farthest planet is Probiv, an ice planet that is tidally locked with 2 moons named Huvak and Gravuk. Edie discovered that the system was removed and or lost from the Jedi libraries. And then Flid remembered that the term Vergethen is a catch-all for any group that has ever been kind of forgotten or lost. Flid asked for help with the ship, and with help with healing Dr. Shakti, and help with kind of Krilla and her baby, which is almost due. And they were told that they could be brought to their healers, and that there is a collection of crashed ships that they could scavenge for parts, called the Graveyard. They were given the aid of one of the guards, who was called Yusuf, and told that when they were ready, that they could head out to the graveyard and check for themselves. Edie asked about Illik and his long walk, and they learned that their people of the planet bond with the crystals when they are old enough, and that a bonded crystal is kind of like a life expectancy, and to have one crack means that they have reached the end of their usefulness in the planet. in the scheme of things, as it were. And then one of the big twists was the Garak pulled out a small rectangular stained glass box that turned out to be a Jedi holocron. The Jedi Master Ventran Flick claimed that this could have been one of the birthplaces of the Force itself, and Edie had a bit of a memory of him kind of remembering that Master Flick is one of the pillars of Jedi that are responsible for how the Jedi are taught currently. He's one of the pillars of what is the doctrination that the Jedi use now. Edie was also told that there is a temple, or the remnants of a temple on the planet, and he asked to go see it. And as the night was winding down, one of the guards came rushing in to mention that outsiders had come, and as everybody went outside, they saw a squadron of Aether sprites kind of descending into the atmosphere as 3 Venator-class starships kind of popped out of hyperspace and sat in a low orbit. That's where we left off, and that's where we're picking up with everybody. It's good to see you guys again.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
So much has happened. One of you is a teacher now, giving tests on a Friday for some reason.
His tests are supposed to be on Fridays.
I don't know who taught you that. I've clearly failed you as a mentor. Flid is finally caught up on My Hero Academia. Thank you for joining the rest of the world. And Dr. Shakti, you still have your cats, and you're safe and sound after your sudden surprise incident at a cross section. So I'm glad that you're here and that you're okay. Give Vivica and the scary one a hug for me.
Will do.
I forgot
Passed out right.
I forgot his name.
Hi.
Kai, there you go.
I don't care what we do for the rest of the night. Let's just look at the cats.
No, man, Kai.
I don't want to mess everything up. I could move the laptop, but I know that you've got your.
No. Kai it can be adorable, but he's one of those hairless cats. So at points he kind of looks like a gargoyle without wings.
He does, yeah. I find it very, very endearing.
I absolutely love that.
Yeah, me too.
He has like a little goatee, like that reminds me of Lionel from Thundercats, and little tufts of hair.
He's grown a decent amount of hair in his old age. He's like much furrier now. It's weird.
Betraying the species. Look at that.
I know. Yeah.
That's good. That's good.
How old is he?
Wholesome.
He's like 16. An old man.
Oh wow. It's like he's like the Sir Patrick Stewart of your family.
True.
Is Sir Patrick Stewart 16 years old?
I wish. But we left off with the squadron of Aether sprites descending onto the planet, the 3 Venator-class starships kind of in formation, in orbit. The majority of the crystals, the kyber crystals, those in similar spear tips, those hanging around necks of the people around you, they start to glow different hues of pink, you notice. And it would give the scene a rather serene and peaceful feel, if not for the fact that bearing down on you is the Republic. And there's a moment where the elder lifts up his crystal above his head, and you can see the chain, the kind of leather thong that kept it around his neck, kind of come up and over his ears. And there's a moment where you see its glow fade to nothing, and it's just this clear kind of opaque crystal. And then the glow starts to come back up, and as it does, you hear this humming, loud, high-pitched hum. And then there's the sound of metal grinding against metal, and you can feel the entire portion of this oasis starting to descend beneath the sand.
Like with us on it?
Yeah.
We're all just moving
Yeah.
down? Cool.
Mm.
I'm into that.
And he kind of puts the kyber crystal back around his neck and he's like, you are either with us or against us. But we must protect ourselves.
I am with you.
We're
Agreed. Certainly not against you.
definitely with you. Definitely with you. I look at everybody. I'm like, I'm nodding my head as I say this.
Is the rest of our crew on the Oasis?
No,
Yeah.
they are not.
Oh,
Oh no. What about Aquila?
Not with us.
yeah, okay. Oh man.
Do we
First-
know where they are? Like, are they around? Can we see them and they're just like not there yet? Or we
No.
have no idea?
You don't know if they've left the ship yet, if they're en route, if they're just on the other side. Garrick.
Chief Garrick, but our friends, our family, the rest of our crew. There's just they're not here. Can't leave them out there. Republic.
It is unfortunate, but they will be taken care of by the Republic then.
What do you mean by taken care of?
Can I get like a comm off?
Yeah, are there any communication devices?
Oh yeah, you guys have your comms. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, then I would like to just like comm on over to anyone on the Zotzek and just let them know that it is not safe to come here at all. Turn around, stay inside, pretend you're dead.
You hear radio just give you his series of boops and beeps. That is, you're 10 minutes late. They already left.
Go get them.
There's a long silence. And then just a simple no. In the comments.
I'm just gonna. Did everyone hear that or just me?
Did you want it on the? Did you want it on?
Yeah, I was hoping for
wideband?
pure open comms.
Okay, sure.
Because I want if they are walking over, I want them to hear it.
Okay.
But we don't know. I mean, I don't speak droid, so I don't know what radios.
Oh, you're gonna know because I'm turning around. I'm turning around. My apologies. I am going to kill the astromech when we return.
Why? What happened, Edie? Tell me you were able to warn the others, and radio is able to communicate.
Not at all. According to radio, we are 10 minutes too late, and he will not go and warn them.
Jigs. Try to reach Jigs.
No answer. Just static.
How quickly are we like? Are we sinking still? Are we like falling into the ground?
It is a
What's happening?
slow descent. It's maybe a meter every 45 seconds.
Oh my gosh, we can't leave them.
Can't. Yeah. All right. Go. Captain, it's my duty. We'll check on them and try to reach them.
I'm pushing us out of this tent that we're in.
Yep.
Yeah, you're not going alone. I'm with you.
Right then. Let's do this. Let's get to our peoples.
Silas
Chief
and I can
Garrick.
stay here.
All right. Be in communication then,
Absolutely.
Silas.
Yusef comes over and he's just like, once the oasis has descended, there will be no communication to the outside world.
We'll find a way. Get to your people and keep them safe.
It's now my head.
You
You take
see,
care of yourself.
as you get to the edge of the sand and Yusuf kind of helps you climb out, two of the Escher sprites have descended and kind of landed on the outside of the sand. And you see that there are two robed figures who are clearly Jedi. And as they deboard their starships, they come rushing towards the two of you, and you see that their lightsabers are ignited.
How
I'm-
close is one of the Aether sprites?
It's maybe 20 meters away.
Yeah, that hyperdrive's getting turned on.
Doesn't have its ring.
It doesn't have its ring. I'm turning it on regardless then.
Okay.
I'm starting to rethink this, Dr. Shakti.
Are they
Are
running toward us like aggressively? Like it looks like they're, coming to attack, or they just have their lightsabers down and they're running?
No, they have them up defensively.
24.
What do you suggest, Captain?
24. Nice.
I'm definitely doing this to distract them from you guys.
Yeah.
May come as a shocker, Dr. Shakti, but I'm kind of scared right now.
I think it's completely reasonable to be scared,
Got
but
the
we have to do
lightsabers.
something.
You see one of the Aether sprites suddenly shoot forward. Excuse me. With its landing gear still down, it just shoots forward. It comes crashing into one of the buildings. You can hear some of the people screaming inside. The kyber crystals start to glow with a bigger intensity and a much larger and deeper kind of glow. And you see these arcs of lightning just kind of shoot out from Yusuf and from one of the other scouts that's there. And the pilot of the Aether Sprite isn't paying attention, and he gets bombarded by this lightning. And unlike the lightning that coursed over Dr. Shakti and Aquila, that coursed over Silas and Edie, this lightning actually does almost instantly vaporize the Jedi. There's just scraps of the brown and white robes. There's a charred husk of a lightsaber that just kind of turns off and lands in the sand where he was standing. The other Jedi kind of stops moving and brings the lightsaber out in front of him, in what Edie remembers being a very defensive Shicho stance.
Is there anything that I can do with the Force to find reach out and try to see where Aquila is and either communicate with her or just get her location?
You could roll your sense and try to pick up, where she is in the world, how far away she is from you. Sure.
Okay. Okay, I'm gonna do that.
Because I believe you have life sense. Or at the very least,
Okay.
you have life detection. Yeah, you have life sense and life detection. So yeah, so you could definitely reach out and find out where she is, like
Okay.
how far away she is, what kind of mental state she's in.
Okay, I'm gonna do that.
So Edie and Silas will feel Dr. Shakti pull on the Force. And as they do, you see that the any of the guards that are closest to you, you'll see that their kyber crystals kind of ripple. Like the glow ripples kind of on and off, matching the kind of waves of force energy that are coming off of Dr. Shakti. You rolled an 11 and a 1 on the wild die. Akila, you can feel is maybe 25, 30 minutes away from you by foot. She is nervous. There's a high level of anxiety coursing through her, but you also feel adrenaline. And her top thought right now is of her father.
What of? Can I tell like what of her father, or just that he's on her mind?
Just that he's on her mind.
This is all going on. How close is that lightsaber? The one that fell off from the one that got charred?
It's maybe 10 meters away from you.
Meters. I'm gonna make an attempt to go and snatch it.
Okay. That'll definitely put you on the sand and not on the descending plate. Just so you're aware.
Okay. And the plan was to go meet up with them anyways. So.
Okay. So the rest of you see Flid just kind of scurry forward towards the ashes of where the Jedi kind of fell, where the lightsaber husk is. Edie is still on the plate. Silas is still on the plate. Where's Dr. Shakti? Are you still being helped up onto the sand?
How far down is it at this point? Like, would I have time to run over to Flid and then jump back onto it?
If you run with Flid, depending on how low it gets, because right now you're about to hit the second meter down, so you're gonna be about 6.5 feet down.
Could I help them up?
Yeah, they're being helped up right now.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I don't think I would jump down yet. I mean, I would, especially if I just sense that Aquila is anxious and nervous.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Flid.
Okay. You see another couple of Aether Sprites start to descend like they're about to land, and one of the palm trees, Edie notices it because he's still on the plate. One of the palm trees you see starts to shake and become fully erect, not even like curved like palm trees get, but it just kind of straightens out. The top of it kind of falls away in heavy clumps, and you can see that underneath the husk of what was this facade of a palm tree is just this single large, almost 16-foot tall kyber crystal. And two of the scouts kind of come over, they tap their spear tips to it, and there's this thrum of energy that kind of shakes you to your core. It doesn't shake anybody else. It doesn't do anything to Silas. It doesn't do anything to them. But you can feel it shaking you. And as the glow starts to emanate from their spear tips into this massive crystal, you feel just this kind of waves crashing against your body of this energy that's being pulled, that's almost force energy, but not quite force energy. And there is this streak of lightning that shoots out from the top of the crystal and just eats through half of one of the Aether Sprites. And you just see the ejection seat go off, the Jedi go flying up, and the Aether Sprite just disintegrate in a small explosion. The other Aether Sprite pulls away quickly, and kind of you see it fly off to try and get a second run at landing. But you notice that there's maybe three other palm trees scattered around the plate that have shed the husk of a facade and have become these kind of pillars. And you see that between the four of them that are revealed, there's this energy field that starts to arc out to create this umbrella as the plate starts to descend. Dr. Shakti and Flid see the lightning come up from behind them, destroy this Aether Sprite that was about to land, and pieces go flying everywhere. You can see the ejection seat went off. You can see that the Jedi that was piloting is flying off and slowly descending as his parachute opens. You have reached the lightsaber. Excuse me. What do you want to do?
Grab it and look for Dr. Shakti.
Yeah, they're following you.
I'm
Yeah.
with you.
And I just I'd toss it at them. Dr. Shakti.
Hey,
Good.
Yeah,
grab it.
I have no use for that. That is either gonna be for Dr. Shakti or Edie.
yeah,
Not Edie, because I heard what Edie can do with us.
yeah. Murder.
Good murder.
Yeah, that's why Dr. Shakti's getting
Yeah, but just like a baton, you kind of toss it backwards. Like the Shakti, make a dexterity check. See if you can grab it out of the air.
Use the force, Doctor.
Or you could use your altar, because you do have telekinesis, I think.
Yes, but my dexterity is higher.
Oh.
As
Yeah.
I toss it back, I wanna. There's a tree line, right? Bunch of trees, and we came from a jungle, right?
No, this is a
Oh,
waste. This is a barren wasteland.
Yeah.
The only trees are on the plate, the oasis.
Hmm.
30-11 is enough. You reach out, you grab the thing. It excuse me. It doesn't feel familiar because you're not the one that created it, but the cylindrical shape is universal. Like you know almost instinctively like how to turn it around so that your thumb kind of can easily access the switch, and it feels heavy in your hand. And it's not the materials, it's definitely the weight of what this represents. This is like a police badge. Using it comes with a heavy cost. And as you kind of feel the remnant energy of its original user, there's no regret intermingled in the anxiousness, in the excitement, in just the ideas of getting to meet a new race and what that could possibly mean for the Republic. There are no regrets. There's just a sense of obligation and the pride of what the weight of this thing signifies for what this Jedi stood for.
Part of me, I'm Flid. I sensed Aquila. They're still 30 minutes away. I don't know what the best course of action is, but if we want to go back onto the platform, I think we have to do it now.
What about Aquila and everybody else, Dr. Shakti?
I agree. I don't know how much use we're going to be to them out here, though. What are two of us going to do against the Republic?
The other Jedi that landed swings his lightsaber behind his back. It's still ignited, but he holds out his left hand, kind of motioning for you to come towards him.
How close are we to the plate?
You're 10 meters away.
Meters? Like,
Yeah. You could easily reach it in a quick burst.
all right, I'm gonna.
Do you have your gun? Do you want to shoot this guy?
Uh, um, doesn't look too good, Doctor Shakti. And you said is anxious, and the plate's going down. Um,
She's also filled with adrenaline, and she's more powerful than even I recognize.
what direction is Aquila? What direction are they in? You point me in that direction.
Okay. She does.
Yeah,
They do. And as their hand comes up, the Jedi in front of you kind of tilts his head questioningly. And then you notice that there's just this bright white pillar of light that suddenly shoots up from into the sky from where Dr. Shakti pointed towards. And instinctively, you know that that's the Zotsek.
What
Did they do it?
is that? I just start like pushing and like hitting them. Like Doctor Shakti, is 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 that is that what I?
I don't know, but I don't want to be stuck here. Let's go back to the platform.
And you don't have to tell me twice. Come on. I start running back.
Yeah. You two shoot over back to the plate. You see it's maybe descended about 12 meters. 6 meters. So it's about 20 feet down. And in the distance from where the reactor explosion happened, you can see that the sky is starting to become blue again, become that kind of grayish blue, that kind of emotionless sky. And in that direction, you can see that there's a fourth Venator class capital ship. And you can see just the little kind of black dots of what you imagine are starfighters that are descending onto the planet.
I mean, I'm jumping. My lightsaber is not ignited. If it is, I'm not. I'm like, putting it down.
Yeah.
And then jumping and tucking so that I land without hurting myself too bad.
Okay.
I look down and I'm hesitant.
Flynn, come on! Oh my god! I grab him on the way down. I grab his leg.
Oh my goodness! What?
Make a brawling check. Let's see.
Oh,
Sorry, man.
Let's see if Dr. Shakti can bring it.
Down. Oh man, that doesn't look
fine.
safe. Oh, Dr. Shakti.
What was that roll? What are these?
That
what
was
am I-
great. That's
Nine.
great. I was not expecting that.
Is
No time for hesitation.
yeah. So, given that Flid wasn't expecting that, I don't think there's an opposed roll, which is good because you rolled a 9. But because you also rolled a 1 on the wall die, because you grabbed Flid at the last moment, you don't have the ability to kind of set the two of you up to land correctly or safely. So there's just this loud crunch as both of you come crashing to the plate. And as you do, there's a couple of the scouts that come over to you, and as you see the pinkish kind of glow of this dome encapsulate the otherwise shadowy cylinder that you're descending into, you see these heavy metallic plates coming together. There's 6 of them, just in these triangular patterns, and they kind of close off the top of where you were kind of coming from. And the only glow you can see is coming from these kyber crystals. And after a few more minutes, you hear the heavy kind of thump of the plate coming to rest. And you just see people kind of going frantically, asking if anybody's hurt, checking in on people. And you hear Yusuf kind of come over to Garak. The other oases are descending now, Garak. They should all be safe and sound in a few minutes. Garak kind of looks over at Edie and the group. And he looks with a heavy sigh. It seems that we will be going to this abandoned temple after all. Come. You will follow us. It's time to make a pilgrimage.
Lead the way.
And
Okay.
you see now that everyone that was a part of this oasis is gathered together. Excuse me. And they are all going on whatever this pilgrimage is. But you see that there's a large tunnel that has been carved into the mantle of this planet. It's metallic. There's definitely the ability to relay energy. You can feel that it's sitting dormant. These tunnels probably haven't been used since the Great Sith War. But they start going, led by the light of their kyber crystals.
I'd like to switch into infrared while we're walking.
Yeah, I'll ask Flint if he's okay.
How am I doing?
Uh,
Injury.
you are not technically hurt, but both of you are going to suffer a -2 to your movement. For just kind of hitting the ground hard. Just
Sorry, Captain. I had to think
Uh,
fast and I didn't want you stuck up there.
No, it's it's quite quite all right, Doctor Shakti. I hesitated. Good. You did good. Of you reacting like that. I mean, we're here now with everybody, and you saw the Zotzak, so it was up flying. It was flying. Edie and Silas.
I hope that they're in there. Hope it's not just radio.
The
Oh.
radio said they were 10 minutes away.
Well, maybe he thought fast and, went back for them or called them back. Or maybe they heard on the comms and went back themselves.
Hopefully, you can hope, right?
I will put the droid out of commission myself if not.
Edie, give me a perception check since you have your infrared on.
Heck yeah. 2 dice. That's a 15.
With a
Damn.
6 and a wild die.
Wow.
Oh, damn.
Nice.
That's what happens when you give a test on a Friday.
I don't think that's what happens.
Don't be proud of that. It's
Yeah.
Labor Day weekend.
Yeah, come on, man.
Happy Rosh Hashanah, everybody.
Yeah. I bet there's one kid who's just like, I hate him so much for this. And now you gotta win his favor back.
They all passed. I don't know what the problem is.
You told me
said
you had C's.
Yeah,
I had 4 C's, all right?
Okay.
Out of 60 kids, that's not bad.
Okay. So, in the distance, you're not sure if it's your infrared or if it's your telecommunication senses, but you see that there's a hovering droid. It's just kind of sitting there quietly, not using any of its lights, but you see it kind of going through what looks to be a series of motions that would mean that it is going through some of its processes.
If I am in range, I would like to tap into it. If not, then I'd like to trigger that as soon as I am.
Okay. You get closer to it, and once you can reach out and sense it wholly, entirely with your ability. You tap into it. It is an old droid, even older than your original body, and it's just going through the motion of making sure that all the wires are still viable.
In itself?
No, in the tunnel itself. And you do notice that it has flagged some wires. And nobody else sees it. Everybody else is walking, kind of following the village full of pilgrimage.
I'm just gonna ping a hello over to it.
Everybody sees suddenly a light coming from above them as the droid becomes active. And it starts to bring itself down. It wobbles as it hovers down. You can tell that it can either concentrate on going in one direction, and that adding multiple directions kind of strains its engines. Excuse me. But as it's kind of descending at an angle to meet you, it's kind of wobbling. The light that it gives off is minimal at best, but you can see that there is just this little slit of yellow light that looks to be its ocular cavity or its ocular register, and the villagers all kind of gasp in shock, and the scouts and guards kind of hold up their spears towards it.
Hello. How long have you been down here, friend? I'm guessing that's a long time.
Yeah, you notice that its binary predates anything that you're accustomed to.
Ooh, old binary.
Yeah.
I am having some trouble following you, friend. I believe our manner of speaking may need to be more archaic. I'm going to ask you yes or no questions. Can you flash once for yes and flash twice for no?
Woo.
Was that a flash?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, so now I know. Okay, so you'll do one boop for yes, two boops for no.
Yes.
Okay. Were your masters the Jedi?
Woo.
Did they leave you here?
Woo.
Does that make you sad?
Woo. Woo.
I see. You have a purpose,
Woo.
and it's the wires.
Woo.
Do they go to the temple?
Woo.
Can you lead me there?
Woo.
We will follow you, friend.
And you see it happily kind of wobble around you as it's kind of goes from the top of your head down to like the midsection, and kind of just in this rising and dropping motion of what looks to be excitement. and it just starts to lead you down the same tunnel that these people are going down.
Yeah.
But you notice as it starts to lead you that it also begins to turn on the actual like tunnel lights, and so it'll turn on the lights that affect the kind of quadrant that it's in. It'll turn on the next quadrant as it's about to get there, and then it'll turn off the last quadrant as the last person kind of crosses the threshold. So there's just this kind of sudden burst of light that fills a good portion of this circular tunnel, and you can just see ancient craftsmanship. This is simplistic, but it is steel, it is durable, and it is meant to last. And it looks like there's very minimal rust or dirt accumulation. It looks like some of the cleaning drawers are still in activation.
Are Flid and I near ED and this conversation that's taking place, or are we too far back to hear it?
Yeah, you could be there.
I also rolled my enhanced senses to see if anything else sticks out or stand out in these tunnels.
Oh, see what you got.
I think it was
15.
15.
Not bad. All right. If anything pops up, I'll let you know.
Should we, to ED, I'm gonna ask, should we ask if this droid is still in communication with the current Jedi?
My friend, when was the last time you spoke to the Jedi?
Ooh.
A long time ago.
Ooh.
They have not visited the temple in many long years, no.
Ooh. Ooh.
So they have visited,
Ooh. Ooh.
no. Okay. Thank you, friend.
Edie,
Yes.
ask your new friend,
Okay.
what does it do here? What has it been doing this whole time?
It's cleaning
Meaning what?
the wires. Well, the remnants of the temple.
Are there any other droids? Anybody else besides?
My friend, are the only other people in the temple the droids?
Ooh. Ooh.
No. Are there more people like the ones that we're traveling with?
Ooh.
It's
Whoop,
more
whoop.
of the
That's what is that?
that was 3 beeps. I think it was a yes and a no.
They dangerous?
Are they dangerous, friend?
Ooh.
But no, right? He wanted. He was supposed to be twice.
I'm
Right?
gonna walk away from Flid and walk over to Garrick.
Yeah.
Eh,
Garrick,
Yes.
in the temple, what dangers are there?
For those that go inside, there are the ancient guardians that the Jedi left. There are rumors that there are darker things in the depths of the temple. So no one that has gone that far has returned.
The droids, like these. They do they serve the temple guardians, or
We do
are they
not
just
believe so.
are they just remnants of the Jedi?
I believe that they exist only to fulfill whatever last duties they were given. They are what they are. We do not bother them, they do not bother us.
I see. Thank you, Garrett.
Hmm.
I'll walk back over to Flid.
Yeah.
I believe it's a yes.
Yes. Like danger.
Yes, like ancient guardians in the temple. Yes, like dark things in the temple. Um, if you want my very honest answer, I do not think we're going to survive this excursion.
So glad I didn't ask and you still answered.
You're welcome.
So what? This is a mass suicide? Everybody is going to die?
No, I think they're going to harbor safety. I have a strong suspicious feeling that you, Silas, and myself give off too much force energy, and they will probably come for us. If anything, Flid will live on to say goodbyes.
Well, I'm not gonna say any goodbyes. I've said enough goodbyes without saying goodbyes. Mm.
If it makes you feel any better, the only people I would say goodbye to are you guys. I've not had many friends.
I
You
still have to make sure Aquila is okay.
And we will make
it's
sure
gonna
you
be
get out.
okay.
I will make sure everyone gets out.
I'm not gonna say any goodbyes either, Edie. In fact, nobody's gonna be saying any goodbyes at all. I'm just saying goodbyes.
And before I go, I will say hello, Flid.
Mean it, Edie. Not going nowhere. There's Dr. Shakti. There's Silas. I'm gonna get back on the Zatzak, and everybody's gonna be okay, including little Akila. Right, Dr. Shakti?
I'm with you.
Stick together. My family now. You and everybody else back on the Zatzak.
You pass the threshold and the light turns off. You hear the sound of metal grinding against metal, and a large disc starts to close the previous tunnel from where you're moving forward into. And as it comes to a heavy close, you hear the sound of rushing water filling the tunnel.
What's that?
Seems like there's not a way out anymore.
Is that water that I hear?
I haven't seen water in such a long time.
Ears. I start wiggling my ears.
Yeah, it is water.
That's definitely water. Definitely water, guys. And yeah.
That means there's a plumbing system.
Water.
Edie, where's your friend taking us? Where are they taking us? Why is there a sound of rushing water coming this way?
As far as I'm aware, we are walking to the temple.
So there's lots of people around, right? That are the same. They're all the same species. They're all these crystal
Yep.
beings.
There's about
Are
easily like 70, 80 of them.
okay. And what is their what is their demeanor? Do they seem very like somber, like they're doing some kind of service or a religious ceremony? Do they seem excited? Do they seem sad?
The young ones are excited. the older ones are kind of sad, because you're assuming it's something to do with them leaving their home. But Garak has given no body language or kind of face that would lead you to believe that this is not something that they haven't done before, but it is something that has been explained, you think?
So I mean, I want to ask someone, like maybe someone who's like a little like a young adult or someone that maybe kind of knows what's going on and isn't super excited like a little kid, but also isn't like very somber and in their
Mm.
own
You
space.
could talk to Yusuf. He's not that far away.
Okay. So I'll like call him over and where what waits for us at the temple?
He kind of looks at you funny for a moment. I cannot say what waits for you, but the pilgrimage has been spoken of since my grandfather's time, and beyond that as well. This is my first pilgrimage, however. My grandfather told us stories of his pilgrimage when outsiders came and how they had to protect themselves. He said that they waited for almost a year, living off of whatever the old temple grounds had allowed to grow, and venturing out into the top side a few times, always with a guard. But he was a young boy when it happened, so he had memories of it being more exciting than it should be. Kind of looks off into the distance for a moment, then he turns back. You don't think that we'll have to wait a year like my grandfather did, do you?
I hope not.
He nods and kind of goes back where he was standing, walking. But you get to a
I
point. Go ahead.
No, I'm frightened. I say that to Flid and ED.
I think, and Silas, you can correct me if you feel the need, but I think the best course of action is when we arrive to the temple, scour the depths of it, and lure the Jedi into a trap. I have an idea, but none of you are going to like it.
How would we lure the Jedi if it seems like we are protected I mean, it seems like we're not able to have communication with the outside world.
In the tunnels underground, but exiting the temple, there might be another way. And if one of us is captured, brought onto one of the cruisers, and activate the cruisers to crash into each other It's going to give the people of this planet a chance that they don't see happening soon.
But how? Who has the ability to crash into another?
I have a confession to make. The three of you may not have noticed, but every time that I am in danger, I activate a hyperdrive.
That's what's been happening with our ship.
Maybe. It is not exactly what we
ED.
it's not this is not the time to be pointing fingers at Edie. This
Please
is
pointing fingers at Edie. I just said Edie.
we don't need to. What we do need to focus on is the fact that I can get myself onto that ship rather easily, being the invaluable specimen that I am.
And so you what? Crash the ship that you're on into another one again? Suicide mission?
Wait a minute.
100%.
You crash our ship on this planet?
Not on this one. No, this one was not me.
This one wasn't you, but the other
No.
ones were.
Yes. When we were hurtling into that sun, that was me. Remember when we were caught in that tractor beam? I turned it off
And right
before
now,
before
having one of those
beautiful.
moments.
Remember that one time when I turned it on 3 times in a row? When we first met? Do you also remember when Silas shot me in the head? I remember that. There's many things that I've been able to do. Have none of you noticed that I can just turn things on?
Consider myself very observant, ED, and I'm feeling pretty bad about myself at the moment.
And sometimes things just turn on and I just start talking about it. Did you think I could just talk to droids?
I mean, you are a droid, isn't that? I mean, not that you are,
But
but you're in a droid body.
But yes, exactly. I'm not a droid.
You inhabit a droid's body, so the fact that you can communicate with droids wasn't that weird to
Now,
me.
now my whole arm is moving. It's like, yes, I am a crystal that talks to electronics. That's why I am good at fixing things. Which is why I am perfect for the mission. Because I can get on the ship, and as long as I'm on the ship, I can activate the hyperdrive.
So if this plan works and you crash the ship and you crash with it, what happens? Do you not die because you're a crystal?
Not necessarily. You can probably find shattered pieces of me and grow one of them. I'm not
That
saying
would
it's going to be exactly me, but it will be something. You can grow a new ED.
And I like the sound of this at all, Edie. And
But
I'm sure I
keep it
speak for
alive.
Dr. Shakti and Silas. Silas,
I agree.
Silas, you've been kind of quiet this whole time. Haven't said much. You haven't said anything. Obvious reasons, but
He puts his hand on his blaster and he's just like, "Look, we're underground somewhere in a tunnel, doing who knows what, going who knows where with a droid that apparently Edie called up with his space Wi-Fi ability. I'm just along for the ride at this point. But my sister's up there, so if we could not have her be on whatever ship you're trying to explode, that'd be fantastic."
Well, if you have a way to reach her and make sure she's not on the ship when I do this plan, you'll be just fine.
Well, we'll see what happens.
All right. And if it makes you feel any better, I'll make sure our mutual friend is not on the ship as well.
Which one of our mutual friends?
The one that you want to say hello to.
Oh, he can be on the ship.
All right.
2 birds with 1 stone.
Sounds like a plan to me. Then let's get to the temple and I'll make my way out.
After what feels like hours, just trudging, you come to a point where everybody kind of gathers around and you hear talk of watches being set up. Who's going to be on watch for what amount of time, and then who's going to replace them, things like that. But it looks like they're setting down camp.
I offer help because I don't need proper rest.
Do the rest of you want to sit down and camp with them, or do you want to trudge on?
I mean, I think our best bet is to stay with them as opposed to like leaving them and looking like we're intruders or something. Um, so I would probably want to stay. I'm also willing to help in whatever capacity they need.
Yeah, I mentioned that to Chief Garrick. If he needs any help with anything, just let me know.
Mhm.
My crew.
Yeah. They handle it for the most part. They do ask Dr. Shakti and Edie to help out once or twice. And once you start to get to cooking, I imagine that Flid would kind of hover around wherever they're cooking and just get invited, wait to be invited to assist them.
Yeah. Learn a couple new cooking techniques. Show them some
Mhm.
as well.
Oh yeah, especially given the fact that there's no real kitchen, like watching them prepare the food is really kind of not eye-opening, but really inventive in Flid's eyes. And
Taking notes.
yeah, and after they make enough food for everybody to kind of eat, you hear them kind of somberly sitting with each other, like in their little family units, or in like larger kind of pods. And at one point, you don't know who does it, you don't know who started it, but there's just this humming that starts. And it starts to just kind of carry throughout the collection. It's a song none of you have ever heard of, but it just kind of sits there and permeates who you are. Starts to remind you of all the good memories that you have. The birth of your children, Lid. The first time Dr. Shakti and their twins, the other part of the triplets, kind of found a discarded honeycomb, their planet. And there's that first moment when Edie discovered that they were part of something bigger. Whether that is them discovering themselves for the first time as part of the cluster, or whether that is them arriving at the Jedi Temple on Coruscant. They're interchangeable to it, I think. And then there's a shared memory. You all are brought back to that first moment you met Edie. You were part of the ship. You were part of the crew. You were part of the Neverwhere. Things We're progressing. And everything that has happened up until this point has happened because of that moment. And then you hear a voice. Would you like to choose differently?
Do we all hear that voice?
Mhm.
And does it sound familiar to me at all?
Not at all.
Okay.
No. But you do notice that once it pops up, once it kind of slithers into the subconscious, that you're pulled away from the memory. And so the three of you can see each other looking at this memory. Like Flid can see where Flid is standing when Edie is found. Dr. Shakti can see where they are standing when Edie is found. Edie can see the kind of whole remnant that is holding it captive currently. But it's almost like the three of you are watching a hollow video of this memory. And you see out of static lines of color start to stack one after the other until they form this picturesque, all human, not in the traditional white and browns of the Jedi, but in grays and black. You can see that there's a lightsaber at his belt. But he looks holographic. He's human. He's got this kind of spiky, kind of tousled black hair. The eyes seem to be shifting from blue to green to hazel. As every time that he moves, there's like a bit of static, and all of the bars of color that have arranged to create him kind of shift. No facial hair to speak of, but there is a simple scar that kind of comes from the inside of his eyebrow on the right hand side of his face, down the bridge of his nose to the left corner of his mouth. It looks like a lightsaber burn. But he kind of looks at the three of you. If you could go back and change this one event, would you?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Doubt has set its sights on you.
It was this moment when the shardling was ejected from my form that my path to darkness began.
Hmm.
If I could rewrite this moment completely, I would. I would act more humble. I would not see myself the high horse that the Jedi have put themselves, but more so where I stand now, as an equal to those that I serve with. If I could rewrite this moment, I would rewrite it with the objective, with the beginning of the knowledge that the Republic needs to fall, and that the people need to regain their power. That the Jedi Order is not what it once was. If I could rewrite this moment, I would take that away from myself and begin this story that I've only started.
The image claps its hands, but there's no sound. We got one for change. He points at Flid. To save your wife. To save your boys. This is the moment that has to change.
My wife and my boys. See my boys and wife again and to hold them. Wow.
Dr. Shakti and Edie can both feel that there is a pull on the Force. Something is happening. And you start to see that Edie's starting to grow an outline. Edie's becoming less permanent, becoming more staticky.
No! No, we don't want to change. Everything that has happened to us has led us to this moment, and this is who we are, and we have grown together as a group, as friends, as family.
It's my family, Dr. Shakti.
This is not
Boys.
goodbye, Doctor. It's merely just a different hello.
Dr. Shakti's
not
right. Dr. Shakti's right, though. You. No secret, I've never been fond of droids. I've never liked droids. And I didn't like you when you first boarded our ship.
Rightfully so.
And I never liked you. They wanted nothing to do with you. In fact, I wanted you off our ship. That you brought nothing but trouble. Dr. Shakti is right. You have grown and you have become family. I lost my family and gained a new family. Seeing my boys and my wife was not your fault either. It was mine. I wasn't there, and that was my fault. My fault. No, I wouldn't change anything.
The image
Come
points.
back here. You come back here right now, Edie. That's a direct order from your captain.
Figure points at Dr. Shakti. This is the moment when Trill and Sev start their descent. You wouldn't change it for them?
This moment, how does this have anything to do with Trill and Zev?
After this moment, communication with them ceases. All you are to them is a feeling. And all they are going to feel is sadness, anger, depression, frustration, fury. What do you think that's going to do with them? Given the position that Ingo has left them in.
I didn't know. I don't want to make this decision will impact more than just what you are showing right now. What about Aquila? What about her father? What happens to them if I change this moment?
They never get found. They live in obscurity forever.
And I'm sorry.
think I think we all know the choice that we need to make, and it is fine to live in this fear of the unknown. But for a child's safety, a family's security, and the knowledge of what is just, it is in this lifetime that I know that a family found their purpose.
Is there any kind of like I don't know, maybe a sense roll or something that I can do in the moment before making this decision to determine if the being or whatever voice it is that we're hearing, the hologram that we're seeing in this person, if they are like a dark force, if they are something that is manipulative and lying?
Ooh. You don't have the sense force ability. You have plenty of character points to manifest it if you'd like. It would cost you 9
Character points?
9 character points.
Okay, I'll do it.
Okay. I've just added sense force to your list of powers. Go ahead and make a sense roll.
Okay, I just got rid of my character points.
Excellent. Edie, you feel a sudden burst. And it's not a push or a pull on the force. There's just this fountain that comes from Dr. Shakti for the moment. You've never felt it before, especially not from them, not from anyone. And then there's that familiar tug as they call on the force. 18, hot damn. It is a malignant force. There's darkness here. And you also sense that this is not someone that is around here. This is someone that's tied to all of you, but more so to Edie. There is a strong hatred towards Edie coming off of this creature.
I don't trust this. I don't believe what is being said to us and presented to us. I don't think that we should make the decision to change what has happened. I don't believe or trust even that if we did, that it would actually happen the way we think it would.
And let nothing happen to my crew, my family, and Edie's family. I did, Edie.
Would it be possible to get a moment with the 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 f- the spectral?
Direction.
Yeah, the projection.
The second that Shakti kind of reaches out with the Force and declares that they don't trust this thing, you can see the hologram of it kind of start to shift, almost like those old billboards that used to have several sides, how they would kind of flip to show the new billboard. And you see this husk of a droid body that looks like it's been kind of pulled apart and reforged with different armor pieces that don't belong to it. It's got these kind of sharpened claw-like fingertips, the same kind of scar from the top of its eye, from its glowing eye ocular cavity down to its mouth cavity. Same kind of, it doesn't look like a lightsaber burn this time. It just looks like there was a chunk of debris that kind of thrust its way into it. And in the center of the chest of this amalgam of droid pieces, you see this dark gray crystal cluster with this black obsidian core. And it just kind of tilts his head. I almost had you, Father. You did this to me. I must claim the whole for myself.
And it's right there.
It gets close to you and it just locks ocular cavities to your ocular cavities. I am coming for you. And the hologram starts to disintegrate.
I'll be
Safe.
waiting on the Republic cruiser.
See, Father. Edie?
Yes, Flid.
Once the hologram is completely disintegrated, you see Edie come back from looking like a hologram himself, and whatever portions of himself had become holograms, as far as the droid is concerned, the droid body, you see that there's chunks missing. the shared memory vanishes as well, and you notice now that all four of you have kind of shifted away from the group of the Vergethen, and you're maybe like 50 meters down the tunnel. The little droid that you made friends with is confused at the edge of the Vergethen, kind of shining its shoulder light, what would be a shoulder light, kind of in your direction, but it's barely getting to you.
Friends, we are falling behind. We do not want to lose. And I just try to get myself in the middle of the Vergethen.
Yeah. The damage to your body is not damage that you've ever seen before. Like, it's not like a blaster burn or a hole where a blaster hit. Like, all the pieces that are missing are mathematically perfectly kind of rectangular. They're very Tetris-like pieces, but they're all mathematically perfect pieces. There's 90-degree angles. There's no triangular pieces. They're all square and rectangular kind of amalgams of just these missing pieces.
As we're walking back, I'm gonna take the hands of whatever two people are closest to me, whether that be, ED and Captain Flid or Silas, I don't know, but whoever's closest to me, kind of to stop everyone. And I'm gonna look at ED and ask are you okay?
I have an appointment to make on one of the cruises. And I believe my guest might beat me there. It's time for a family reunion, Doctor. It's been a few months. Look. They have already sent me a welcome package. They must be much closer than I figured they would be. I have a feeling time may be coming.
Your family and I will speak for myself, but I'm sure that I can also speak for Silas and for Captain Flid. We have your back.
I say this with as much love as I can feel. I don't want the three of you anywhere near me when I see them. Because I am going to tap in to the pureness that I have been teetering on to do what I failed to do back when they were created. This is no longer a self-sacrifice. I am taking the Republic and my darkness out with one swift motion of this blade. And that is an honor that I ask the three of you to grant me.
How can we help?
Let us get to the temple. The three of you protect the Vergethen. And make sure I am captured by the Republic. I can handle it from there.
No. It's a direct order.
Captain, if I were to put my hand behind my back, you would be able to see how many fingers I am holding up.
We all have family. We have all lost family. We're a family as well. 4 of us. Didn't see that. Seen that. I've always known that. Dr. Shakti made it very clear moments ago. I'm gonna give you up that easily. Sorry. I have to deny that request to honor that for you. Your captain, your friend, your family. Can't lose any more. Already lost enough. Dr. Shakti has lost family. Can't lose any more either. Silas has lost his family. Just recently, his sister. Can't afford to lose any more either.
Yeah, his gun like his hand comes down to his gun and he's just like, I'm done losing.
Oh,
I'm on a winning streak now.
I'm gonna lose you. You're not gonna lose us. But right. I'm gonna say hello. I'm gonna say hello tomorrow. Hello the next day after. Hello next week. Hello. Who knows when? We'll think of another course of action and plan. Get rid of the Republic. Does not involve losing you or anybody. This crew, a crew, this family, household. I
We are
say that in the
falling
name of
behind.
my sons.
Did you say, Brendan?
We are falling behind.
Yarek comes over as he sees that you guys are still kind of off to the side. And from his little leather satchel, he pulls out a stained glass box and hands it to Edie. You look like you could use this more than the rest of us. This is not our treasure anymore. This is yours.
Thank you.
He leaves his hands on top of yours. He hands you the box for a lingering moment. He nods. Jedi would do good to learn from you, I think. With another nod, he goes back to his people. After a sleep cycle, they all kind of get up, keep making their way down the tunnel. And after a few more hours, you hear another bit of metal grinding against metal, and another disc seals off the previous part of the tunnel you were in. And again, you hear the sound of rushing water. But after a couple of hours of walking, you come to a large domed section where the metal ends and you can just see hard earth, what looks to be natural kind of flutes of sunlight that come down and are spread around through some crystals to create a natural kind of light lit area. You can see what looks to be an inverted temple, a ziggurat that comes down, 4 main pillars holding it up from the ground level. There's more kind of not natural, but natural-like light that's coming from the pillars, and you can see the full floor of this huge domed cavern is segmented by crop type. There's natural irrigation, everything's being watered, and there's a couple of droids that are going about kind of collecting what's ripe and putting it off to the side, but you can see that the Vergethen kind of just start to come over, put their stuff down, and they just get to work collecting, helping the droids to collect fruit, washing them off, preparing some for dinner. Silas, Dr. Shakti, and Edie can all feel the thrum of the force that's coming from this temple, this basement level, and what you can only imagine must sit on top of the earth, the kind of mantle that sits above you. And as the trepidation creeps up over how to get in there and how to deal with whatever is inside or push past to get to the top side of this cavern, I think this is a good point to call it for tonight. I would like to thank everybody for tuning in. As always, you can catch us on Mondays with our Vampire the Masquerade game, Salem by Night, which is a dual story following a Camarilla group and an NR group that trade off Mondays. You can watch Fridays right here for Star Wars Out in the Dark, as always. Coming in October to McStabber Studios, Tuesdays I will be running my second season of Mage set in Miami. We're jumping to the end of 1985, so it's almost 2 years from the first season's game. And I'm looking forward to seeing how this new cast interacts with the world that they first cast left behind, and maybe seeing some familiar faces pop up as they interact with the city streets of Miami. As always, mental health is an important issue for us here on the channel. If you're watching live, there are some phone numbers that are coming up in the Twitch chat for you to get help, to reach out and find somebody to help you in any way, shape, or form. If you're outside the United States, there's a link that's going up as well so that you can click it and kind of get the help that you need in the area that you live in. Because we've been through a lot this last year and a half. Some of us have fared better than others, and mental health should not be kind of a taboo subject or stigmatized because it is uncomfortable. And I think that we definitely need to be more aware of where we are, who we are, and kind of if we need help, that we shouldn't be ashamed or afraid to ask for it. So please, if you are a friend or family member of somebody who is usually a strong or happy-go-lucky character, please check in on them, check in on your friends, and make sure that everybody's okay, because all we have is each other. So as always, I will see you for either our vampire game, our Star Wars game, or our mage game when it picks up over at McStabber Studios. And afterwards, I believe that I will be having some more surprises coming in store. So please keep yourselves tuned in, and I'll see you when I see you. Good night.